Hi, my name's Rose, and today you can follow along making English muffins with me. Yep, these English muffins. Super yummy, and these have become an absolute staple for me. Delicious. Plus, I don't use cornmeal. I always feel like it's such a mess, so I decided to make my own. You can definitely use cornmeal if you want, but I'll show you what I do instead. The fact that these are so easy to make has absolutely changed my life. But I do have to warn you, it does take some prep, but with the right routine, you'll never run out. So let's begin with the starter. If yours is left on the counter and fed, good for you. I'm not about that. It requires too much work. So I keep mine in the fridge. I usually use it about once a week, so I pull it out of the fridge and feed it the night before I'm going to use it. And it turns out great every time. Let's start with a fed and happy, active starter. Look at those bubbles. So you're gonna have 1 cup of your starter, 1 cup warm water, 1 teaspoon sugar, 1 teaspoon salt, and 2 tablespoons of butter melted and cooled. So just not too hot to touch. Then you're gonna mix these ingredients lightly here, and we're gonna add our flour. For this, I use a 50-50 split of unbleached bread flour and white whole wheat flour. I have since switched brands and moved to organic, but you can find this stuff pretty much at any grocery store. And then you'll mix just enough to where all ingredients are blended, then remove your dough hook and gently rest it in the bowl so you can cover it for about 30 minutes. This allows the dough to autolyze and absorb the moisture we just added. Next, we're going to reattach the dough hook and mix on the first setting for 10 minutes. I always do timers on my watch. It just makes things super easy. So you can see here. And we'll let that mix. Now I take my bowl and lid and I'll be storing my dough in the fridge with it. So we'll get that ready for the bowl. I spray my bowl with a cooking spray before I put the dough in it. And I used avocado oil, but you can use Pam or any spray cooking oil. It just makes it easier to pull out of the bowl later. Once that's done, you're going to cover it and let it ferment on the counter for around 1 hour. Just plop it in there. Alright, you're going to remove any rings on your hands or they're going to get super doughy. Also, it's pretty gross because they can hold bacteria. I spray my work surface with oil and wash my hands before working with the dough. Then prepare your parchment paper. I fold this in half and then I fold it into thirds long ways. So I'll split those in half so I have 2 sheets. And then I fold them again because I didn't like how the lines came out. So I just wanted to clarify those lines and do it one more time. This is definitely going back to high school. They would show us how to do this so that we could take notes on papers easier. So you had different sections for your notes. It's pretty much the same process here. And then you're going to cut along the lines that you make. So you have 6 strips. Once you have those lined up, you're going to cut those in half. And that will give you a dozen squares for lining your pan. I don't know why I put these in a weird order here, but I'll blame that on lack of sleep. Once those are tidy on your pan and laid out nicely, you're going to want to grab some flour and have it ready so you can put that, or cornmeal, on the parchment paper. You want enough on there to make it easy to peel off later, but just enough to have a barrier between that parchment paper and the dough. My dough was super wet, so I put some flour on my workspace. And you're gonna wanna grab your dough and roll it out like a Tootsie Roll. Not super long, just a good log that you can divide into 12 pieces evenly. This is the easiest way that I've found. I use the measurements at the bottom of my scraper for this, and I mark each segment with my thumbnail where I'm gonna cut it. Sorry you can't see it very well, but that's what I did there. You're gonna separate the dough pieces and then roll each of them into a ball. Then you're just gonna smash it with your palm. Usually that's round enough, but you can shape it more if you want. Then I gently place that on the parchment squares. Then I'll repeat that process until I have a dozen done on a half sheet or 2 quarter sheets. Alright, so I slowed down this last time so you could see it one more time. After that, I clean up the surface using the scraper to bring all of the excess flour into the bowl I used to clean up. Alright, so now that I'm done, it's towel time. I've never had anyone explain what towels to use for this because tea towel or towel can be super generic. These have been the best I've used. They have a waffle knit texture and they feel smooth. It's important to note this type of towel won't stick to your dough. This specific type of towel has been the best. I can barely read the tag on these anymore because I've had them for so long, and I'll link where they're from below because I have to look it up. Alright, back to the muffins. You're going to want to cover these and let them rise until they're the size we're looking for. So about 4 to 6 hours. Alas, it is time to griddle, the most active part of making these muffins. So if it's stuck to your parchment paper like this one, just cook it on the side with the parchment paper and you can pull it out from under later. Or once you flip it, it will slide right off and you can pull it off then. So we're going to cook these for a few minutes on medium heat. Once they're ready to flip, we're going to pull off those squares if they're still there. Get distracted by your wonderful husband and flip your muffins. Since I'm using quarter sheets on these ones, I put them in the oven once I'm done griddling and start on the next 6 muffins. If you're using a half sheet, you can just use the same one and cook them all at once in the oven. I just like using the quarter sheets because I can do a better rotation. At this point, my baby was getting a little upset, so I decided to carry her around while I finished up these muffins. Once they've been cooked for 10 minutes in the oven at 350 degrees, I put them on a cooling rack. And once we're done with all of them, woohoo, we get to do the best part, tasting them. Ah, look at that crumb. It looks so good. So I'm going to butter these, put some jam on them, and I can tell you right now I doubled it up because they're delicious and I love these as a snack in the morning or to make breakfast sandwiches out of. So here you can see me tasting them, and yum, absolutely delicious. And that'll be a crunch, crunch, crunch. So per usual, thank you for joining. So if you're still hanging around for the rest of this video, I'm just going to continue with my podcast updates here. Since it's been a couple weeks of me figuring out how to edit videos in my downtime, I have some baby updates. She has been getting so much better at everything. She's 8 months old now. She grabs at anything and everything, hair and face included. She's still not really trying to crawl, but she has learned she can maneuver into a sit from different positions now. After nursing, she rolls over into a position she can sit between my legs or on my lap and look around the room. It's crazy her awareness of everything now. She knows when we're talking directly to her and will look up and focus when her name is called. The development of a child is absolutely amazing. I'm awestruck all the time. And for my favorite part of the update, she has been doing consistently better on the potty and enjoys the time we spend there. Because I read books to her while she's on the potty, she's learned to turn the pages of the books now. It's so cool. I prep the pages by lifting a little bit, and then she'll grab it and swing it over and look at the next page. She's also discovered that dragging her fingers on the board book pages makes a funny squeaking sound, and giggles at that too. She giggles at so much now. It seems like it's any new thing. It's hilarious, even if it seems super simple. Walks in with one or the other. And she laughs when we make silly sounds or faces too. The absolute most elusive toy that she wants is, of course, the keyboard or the controller. She loves smacking her hands on the buttons or the keys. Oh, and with potty time, I finally saved a diaper for the first time, just being consistent. That was very satisfying. She generally only goes number 2 on the potty when given the opportunity. Since starting potty time, she's only gone in her diaper once, and that was in the morning when she woke up in her crib. Also, she can sit up so much better now, so when she crosses her legs in front of her, she's not putting too much pressure on her feet and losing circulation anymore. I figured I should point that out and mention it, since at the beginning when I started this, I had mentioned that she kind of was cutting off the circulation into her foot, so I did not want her doing that for a little while. And for my fun tidbit today for making it this far, I'm going to keep it relevant. Do you know the Muffin Man? Truly. Apparently I'm staying on topic, because the English muffin started as a street food sold by vendors known as muffin men. These were sold to the working class, but the modern English muffin became popular in America as a breakfast staple from the Thomas brand back in the late 1800s. He marketed them as English muffins as a throwback, even though his were technically different, with his own recipe. American breakfast culture is what truly brought them their fame in Britain, and that's why Thomas muffins are the originals. Maybe then it's very American of me to have taken them as such a staple in my life. But really, they make meal prep so easy and a simple snack. Thank you again for joining me today and giving me a little bit of your time. I hope to see you again, and I appreciate comments on how I can improve, and also appreciate comments on how you like the recipe, or just my episode or podcast in general. I am just starting, so to be honest, I'm sure I can see a lot of opportunity to grow. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thanks for listening and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.